What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our SEC football channel. We've got a brand new series for you where we are going to be creating all-decade teams. We're going to try to do this for really all of the teams in college football. We start here in the SEC, and we start with the Auburn Tigers. And the way this works, we have created this, and we created these rosters to go into dynasty mode. So you're going to have the years staggered, and you'll see what I'm talking about in just a second. It's where you can go and play with multiple players from the last decade, not just the starter. You don't just have a starting lineup here. You have a full, in-depth roster that you can go through if you want to play in a dynasty mode or whatever. And if you want to get these rosters, just join us on Patreon. We'll be providing these rosters, and we'll be adding more and more teams there. A link will be down in the description of this video. You can check out exactly what we are offering on Patreon, because it's not just this. We have a whole lot of stuff that we're doing there, and we're going to be adding more and more content as well. So check that out. But yeah, we're going to go through and show you the roster for Auburn. And I didn't create this roster. I just took the rosters from NCAA football for the last 10 years, and I took the players from those rosters and inserted them in here. And there was kind of a formula that I used for this. I'm not going to go into that. It's a little too complicated. But I didn't really adjust the players or anything. I just copied them over and staggered the years. And so, for example, the backup quarterback is going to be, you're going to see in a second, is Nick Marshall. I didn't take his senior year. I had said I took his next rating. So Cam Newton, we took his highest rating, and then the backups didn't get their highest rating. They got from a previous year. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, I don't want to get into all that, but you guys just check it out and let me know what you think. Let's go ahead and let's start with the top players here. Cam Newton, a 99 overall. He is the only 99 overall for the Auburn Tigers in this decade. And when we're talking about this decade, we're talking about 2010 to 2019, the current year. Cam Newton, 99. But how about Greg Robinson, a 98 overall? Very close to a 99. Derek Brown, also a 98. You got Braden Smith, a 97. Kicker Daniel Carlson was a 97. Trey Mason, a 96. Kerryon Johnson, a 95. Carlton Davis, a 95. Reese Dismukes, 94. Nick Fairley, a 94. That's all I'm going to show you here. But what do you notice from Auburn from the last decade? It's been offensive and defensive lines in the running back position. That's where this team has really produced some very talented players. So let's get right into it. We're going to go position by position, starting with the quarterback. There is Cam Newton, a 99. We also have Nick Marshall, a 90 overall, and Jarrett Stidham. So these are the top three quarterbacks based off of their NCAA football ratings. And we can only kind of do 3 per position. Now, for running backs, we're going to have 6 because you play 2 different running backs really in a game for the most part. Wide receivers, we're going to have 3 per year. So, again, the years are staggered. Cam Newton will be a junior, Nick Marshall a sophomore, Jarrett Stidham a freshman. So if you go into a dynasty, and I need to remove all the red shirts, I'm going to take those off so that you'll have the option to red shirt these players. So again, I will be removing those red shirts. Everyone will just be straight up what they are. But you can go through and play with Cam Newton. Maybe he sticks around for a senior year, probably not. But either way, when he's gone, you play with Nick Marshall. When he's gone, you play with Jarrett Stidham. And that's just kind of how this roster is built. And we're also going to be doing some simulations where we're going to play these teams head to head and see which team had the best all team out of the 2010 decade. So there's your quarterback position. Let's go to the running backs. And this was tough to narrow this down to 6 because they've had a lot of really good ones, and there are some that were left off that I really wanted to put on here. But Trey Mason goes number 1. You have Kerryon Johnson at 95. Michael Dyer, 93. Cameron Artis-Payne at 91. And then the speedster Ontario McCaleb, 86. And Corey Grant, also a speedster, there at 84. And actually, Kerryon Johnson has a 96 speed. That's probably a little high. And I may make some adjustments to these rosters. Again, these are not the rosters that I made. I didn't make any of these rosters. I just copied them over from the rosters that I found. And I just went through and found the best rosters I could, converted it all over here to NCAA Football 14. But yes, Kerryon Johnson did not have 96 speed. Ontario McCaleb should be 96 speed. So if you see anything big like that, you guys can let me know down in the comments, and I'll make some adjustments because it's going to take some time to get all these teams done. The goal would be to have all of these teams done when the college football season ends, and that way you would have an opportunity to play with these rosters while you kind of have a gap between this year's season and next year's rosters and all that. Anyways, those are your running backs. Peyton Barber, a guy that was left off of here, really talented player that probably should be on here, but we can only fit 6, and I had to just go with the ratings and what they were on the game. That's how I selected it. I didn't pick my personal favorites or anything like that. This is just how it came out. So there you go. Running back spot. The fullback spot, you got Jay Prosh and Chandler Cox, 2 really good fullbacks that they had over the years. And here are the wide receivers. A lot of great players left off of here as well. Sammy Coates is the top guy. Ricardo Lewis in 88. Ryan Davis in 88. I believe he is the all-time leader in receptions at Auburn. Quan Bray, Darius Slayton, Seth Williams in 86. All 3 of those 86. Emory Blake in 85. Darvin Adams and Terrell Zachary 84. So those are the receivers for Auburn. And again, there were players left off. I left Duke Williams off of here just because of the issues that he had. I'd rather not put guys on here that maybe had some issues off the field and things like that. I know Michael Dyer transferred away, but he was such a big part of their national championship team. I felt like I had to put him on there. Had one of the biggest plays in the history of Auburn football. So that's why he's on there. That's why Duke Williams is not on here. We go to the tight ends now. You got Phillip Butson-Kirkin and CJ Uzama, 2 really talented tight ends there. And here goes this offensive line. I'm telling you, they've had some really good offensive linemen. Greg Robinson in 98, Lee Zimba in 92. And when there are 2 players per position, they're going to be juniors and freshmen. Again, you want to be able to play with these. So how about that? You can play with Lee Zimba. As a freshman, he's a 92 overall. Just imagine how good he's going to be by his senior season on your dynasty. You got Alex Kozan at left guard and Marquell Harrell in 87. Center, very talented, Reese Dismukes, 94. Ryan Pugh in 91. Chad Slade at right guard and Jared Cooper an 86 overall at right guard. Braden Smith, one of the top players on this team, 97 overall. And Fritz Tega an 85 overall. Let's go to the defensive line, and this is a very talented defensive line here. You got Corey Lemonnier at 91, Antoine Carter in 88, Carl Lawson at 87. On the other side, Jeff Holland at 92. You got D Ford also a 92. How do you decide who to play in that? Actually, D Ford I think would be the starter because he is the junior. I may drop Jeff Holland down to like a 90 so that there's some separation there. And then Marlon Davidson at 87. Let's go to the defensive tackle position. Derek Brown at 98. Nick Fairley at 94. Maybe he should be bumped up a little bit. I was surprised that his rating was only a 94. Gabe Wright at 91. Montravius Adams at 90. Dontavius Russell 89. And Mike Blanc at 89 as well. So that's probably going to be the strength of this team, and it really has been the strength of Auburn over the last decade. It's the defensive line. Every year they are loaded there. So have fun playing with this defensive line. Linebacker's not quite as strong. You got Chris Frost there. We'll start with the left outside linebacker. El Toro Freeman and Craig Stevens. Middle linebacker, Deshaun Davis in 91. Josh Bynes in 85. And I need to fix his person there. He should have the dark complexion. And then Trey Williams in 83. That's something else when you convert the rosters from previous games. Sometimes when things don't get converted correctly, the player face models I think changed and things like that. So if you notice anything like that, and I'll try to double check this, let me know, because again, Josh Bynes, the appearance there is not correct. Let me know what you see on here. I will get it fixed. Let's go to the right outside linebacker now. You have Darren Bates. Also, I think should be dark instead of medium there. Casanova McKenzie and Owen Papo, a freshman now, actually made the cut. So if we do this like 10 years from now and we do a 2020 team to do the 2020 decade, he might go on that roster and I would replace him with someone else. But that is a long ways away. So anyways, he made the cut as a true freshman. Cornerbacks, you got Carlton Davis and Chris Davis. Very nice pair there. Nico Thorpe, Jonathan Jones, Javaris Davis, and Jonathan Mincy. Pretty talented at that spot. The safeties, Aaron Savage, Jonathan Ford, and Steven Roberts. And that would be Rudy Ford, by the way. Strong safety, you got Mike McNeil, Trey Matthews, and Robinson Threezy. And the kicker, Daniel Carlson, Cody Parkey. You got 2 really good kickers there. I had to leave off Wes Byram the kicker that won the national championship for them in 2010. Maybe we could put him on the 2000s roster. I think he was a senior in 2010. And then the punter, we have Stephen Clark. And I'm not sure what happened. We actually had 2 punters here, but one of them got cut off during the conversion. I'm going to have to go back and see if I can fix that. If not, we will only have, I think, 68 players instead of 69. I'll check into that, but he is the punter for this team. And if we only have one punter, I'll probably make him like a sophomore instead of a junior. So that's it for the Auburn roster. Again, give me your thoughts on this roster for NCAA football. Your thoughts just on these players from the last decade. Which ones do you remember? Which ones really stood out to you for Auburn over the last decade, whether you're an Auburn fan or whether you're a fan of another team? Just kind of reminisce here about the last decade if you'd like to, down in the comments below. And again, if you see anything incorrect on this roster, anything you think should be adjusted, feel free to let me know and I will take that into consideration. Again, if you would like to get this roster and get all of these historic rosters that we're going to be doing over the next few months, join us on Patreon. Join us there. And again, there are a lot of other cool things you can get from that as well, including updated dynasties with the 2019 schedule and roster. You can play our college football fantasy league, where you can be part of drafting a team and controlling a team's roster. Details on that, again, you can go find that there. But this is it for the Auburn Tigers, their 2010 All-Decade team. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more here on the SEC Football Channel.